Well, good morning, everyone. My name is MightyStream, and today is June the 12th. And I wanted to say good morning to you. I'm going to do your just for today in a meditation. So I hope you have your book, but if you don't, I'm going to pull it up on the screen and read it to you, and then we'll discuss it. I am brought to you by Hope Through Navigation, and this is our H.O.O.D Recovery Services. H.O.O.D is an acronym, H-O-O-D, that stands for Hope Offered on Demand. And I am excited to tell you that I'm creating daily content for you so that when the mission is completed, you will be able to go to an app on your phone and you will be able to pull up whatever topic that you need to hear or talk about. This month, I'm going to be adding an additional discussion. And then in the month of July, I will be interviewing some individuals that are in recovery in the community that will be discussing how they got to the program and how they're doing. And we will also air those. So it's going to be fun this summer. I'm looking forward to it. And I hope that you are as well. If you are one of my listeners and you're interested in doing an interview with me, go ahead and send me an email at recoveryofhope21@gmail.com. Let me repeat that for you, recoveryofhope21@gmail.com. All right, let's get into the screen and see what we have. I don't even know the topic because I pulled it up so quickly and wanted to get in here. Don't mind those other links you see, those are relevant to my education. Okay, June 12th. Oh my goodness. A vision of hope. June 12th. This is powerful. Okay. Yes, we are a vision of hope. Basic text, page 53. By the time we reached the end of our road, many of us, I want to make sure our mic is on. By the time we reached the end of the road, many of us had lost all hope for a life without the use of drugs. We believed we were destined to die from our disease. What an inspiration it was. Then coming to our first meeting and seeing a room full of addicts who are staying clean. A clean addict is indeed a vision of hope. Today, we give that same hope to others. The newcomers see the joyful light in our eyes, notice how we carry ourselves, listen to us speak in meetings, and often want what we have found. They believe in us until they learn to believe in themselves. How powerful is that? Let me continue. Newcomers hear us carry a message of hope to them. They tend to see through rose-colored glasses. They don't always recognize our struggle with a particular character defect of our difficulties with improving our conscious contact with our higher power. It takes them time to realize that we, the old-timers, with 3 or 6 or 10 years clean, often place personalities before principles or suffer from some other unsightly character defects. Yes, the newcomer sometimes places us on a pedestal. It is good, though, to openly admit the nature of our struggles in recovery, for in time, the newcomer will be walking through those same trials. And that newcomer will remember that others walked through that difficulty and stayed clean. Just for today, I will remember that I am a beacon to all who follow in my path, a vision of hope. You know what? I'm speechless. I am speechless. Because I've been up all night. I won't say all night. Eventually I fell asleep, but I woke up a few times, and you know what was on my mind? a vision of hope. How does Hope Through Navigation with H.O.O.D Recovery Services extend our vision of hope? Because we have a vision of hope, understand, right? We have a vision of hope, but the hope that we have in extending it is about navigating other people to their hope, right? Navigating hopeless people, drained out people, tired people, navigating them into hope. Because when you have just one nugget of hope, that nugget of hope develops and grows into more nuggets. Now, I personally believe that my higher power puts different things in front of me to choose from. I'm saying I believe I have free will. I can decide at any point in time which nugget that is more suiting for me. There's many opportunities, but many people, because they are in the forest, they cannot, because they can't see, they're in there and they're looking at the trees. They can't see that it's a forest. They can't see the forest because of the trees. Right? And that is to say that there is always a silver lining in every cloud that stands over you. There is always a window of opportunity. There is always a vision of hope if you are able to open your eyes. This discussion in this meditation is very powerful. Now, that's why I'm saying that this is so important to me, because I've just been ruminating over this all night. However, let's bring it to you. Let's bring it to the newcomer, because the newcomer is watching you. Wherever you are in your meetings, wherever you are listening from, the newcomer is watching you. You notice in here, it said us old timers with 3 or 6 or 10 years clean. We still are human. We still err. We still place personalities before principles, even though we know we're not supposed to. We know that we are supposed to practice that in all our affairs, but we don't. But the newcomer is watching to see how we navigate ourselves through this process of recovery. And as they listen to you tell your stories, your horror stories, your hope stories, your recovery stories, as they grow and as you continue to grow and you're sharing your experience, strength, and hope authentically, they pick up on the fact that, man, you mean to tell me that that lady over there that looks so nice and ladylike, right, carries herself well in the rooms. You mean to tell me that lady husband used to beat the bricks off of her? You mean to tell me she had to go into hiding so that she could survive? You mean to tell me that man that she was with set her on fire? And she don't look like she been through fire, less known smell like smoke. You mean to tell me that that man caught his wife cheating in their own bed with somebody else, and he is sitting here clean 3, 4, 5 years? Wait a minute. You mean to tell me that that woman just lost her child or grandchild in a car accident? You mean to tell me that woman over there that looks so beautiful and works her full-time job suffered losing her husband being shot to death in the streets over some minor amount of drug money? You mean to tell me that that woman just went through a divorce and you can't even tell? Huh? Yes, yes. The newcomer is listening to your experience, strength, and hope, and they're gaining their own vision of hope. And they're starting to realize, I've been using all this time over the same things they talking about they came through clean. That means that I can stay clean. Now, isn't that beautiful? Now, I want you to remember this just for the day today. I want you to focus on this just for the day today, because everything that you do, everything that you say, everything that comes out your mouth, the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you present yourself in the rooms of recovery and out is indicative or reflective of your recovery. What you do, in a sense, affects what I'm able to do. We have a message of recovery that we need to carry very clearly, that any addict can stop using, lose the desire to use, and find a new way of life, of living, to quote it exactly. Yep. So I need for you today to think about not all of the beautiful things that you're doing, because you've already nailed that. I want you to think about the things you are not doing, the things that you are not carrying through like you're in recovery, because we have the weight of the newcomer on our shoulders. And it's very important that you remember this just for the day, this last line. I will remember that I am a beacon to all who follow in my path, a vision of hope. Yeah, this is a very powerful meditation, and I want you to take it seriously. I want you to bend the corner on that or highlight it and write reread and put highlighter over that reread. So when you flip through your meditation book, you know that this is one of this foundational type of readings. We must understand that we got here because we were suffering, but we stay here because of the beauty that has come into our life. But if we have a responsibility, we have a responsibility to be a beacon of light. And so I need for you today to focus on what you are not doing. And when you focus on the things that you are not doing, that are not reflective of recovery, I don't know what that could be, right? I know that there are tons of things that I do personally that I want to tighten up on. Okay, so I want for you to do the same thing. You don't have to share them here. I'm not going to share them here because some of the things are just so, they're ridiculous that I even hold on to them as a survival tactic. Okay, so I need for you to do the same thing. Look at what you're not doing. That what is it that you're doing that does not line up with recovery? And I need you to look at that, and I need for you to take it seriously, and I need for you to change that. I want for you to write that down. Number one. Okay, let's say it's cussing. You swear a lot. You sometimes swear in atmospheres that are inappropriate. You have a potty mouth, male or female. Okay, so number one, I cuss a lot. Write that down. I cuss a lot. Number two, the reason why I cuss a lot is because I think it makes me look tough. It makes people not want to even try me. I use it as protection. Number three, where is step 1, 2, and 3 in what you just wrote? Number one, you are powerless over people, places, and things. So even though you might act a certain way, you will never, ever be able to control what people do or do not do. You're trying to manipulate what other people do by sounding tough and cussing. Number two, you come to believe that you could be restored to sanity. Do you absolutely believe that you can be free of this shortcoming? Do you absolutely believe that this area of your thinking is faulty and that it can be restored and should be restored? Number three, you turn your will and your life over to the care of God as you understand Him. God, I need for you to understand that I am worried about people abusing me. I am worried about confrontation. I do not do confrontation well. God, help me. Help me to lean more on my relationship with you and the people, that beautiful people you put in my life in recovery, than relying on this faulty characteristic of myself. Huh? See, that's what I'm talking about. Are you in a position where you could take what you do in your own life and apply the 12 steps to them that quickly? That's why I need for you to list those things that you are not doing properly, those things that you are doing that don't reflect the fact that you're in recovery. And then you need to walk that down through those steps. Now, step 4 would not apply to that unless I just said the asset of that is of losing that, the asset, the benefit of that is that other people will be able to be drawn and network with me because they won't feel like I'm a hard person, and I will have more windows of opportunity to open up. The liability of trying to keep it is that I will not have those relationships that I'm supposed to have because of my mouth. People do not want to be involved with people that cuss every other word. And if you are a person that cuss every other word and you're in a network where people are also cussing every other word, then maybe you might want to look at your network. Not that cussing is so horrible, but I'm talking about an individual that has been affected, right, by their relationship with God and with the 12-step principles. And that behavior just is an example for you, because I know that I can apply it, but you may not be able to apply it. You need to figure out what it is you are not doing that you need to change. What are you doing that does not reflect recovery? And then walk that down through the steps. And when you end up at the 7th step, you are humbly asking God to remove that shortcoming, right? We complicate things sometimes because we want to have a rote. We want to have a system. But sometimes we need to just stop and be honest with ourselves. We know enough about the 12 steps that we understand the principles of them, and we are shooting a game. We're kind of playing recovery, right? We're trying to shoot a move on recovery because we have been around long enough to understand the spiritual principles of the steps. But even because we haven't written the steps, we want to tell ourselves in the back of our mind, justify and rationalize that we don't need to apply those spiritual principles fully. We don't really need to have long suffering and self-control. We really don't need to be diplomatic. We really don't need that because I haven't gotten to step 6 and 7. I haven't written that. But honey child, let me tell you something. You do understand spiritual principles because you know the difference between right and wrong. And it's very important that we understand that this is the time that we need to make the necessary adjustments that need to be made. Now I know I'm on this. MightyStream is riding this wave out, and I need to ride it out because I noticed that sometimes on the weekend, the numbers of people that listen to the podcast are low. But I need for you to share this with your friends. I need you to take this YouTube link and share it with your friends. And I need for you to tell them to listen, to subscribe, and to share. They need to like, because where I'm about to go, I want to take those that are with me in the beginning along with me. I want to make sure that I am able to come in here and be trusted enough to be sincere and honest and able to apply the spiritual principles of this program to whatever we're discussing. MightyStream has your best interests at stake. And so today I say to you, you are a beacon of light, but sometimes your light will dim. And when that starts to flicker and it starts to dim, this is when your character defects are taking over, trying to snuff out your recovery. Can you imagine somebody that is so hard that every time they encounter people, they start cussing and swearing? I don't know who you think you're talking to, honey. And they just go on and on and on. It could be a man, it could be a woman. Can you imagine being in a store or parking lot, snapping or driving and snapping on somebody that ends up pulling a gun on you? because they got the same nasty disposition that you got, tough and bad. But the thing is different is that they got they weapon ready for you. Can you imagine taking a bullet because of your mouth? Now that might sound extreme, but honey, let me tell you something. This is not extreme. We're living in an age where we're experiencing gun violence all the time. You don't know. Just in my community alone, there's been about 4 men that have killed their wives, and they was all drunks. And truly, she probably was fed up and had something to say, and they decided to snuff her life out. So this is not make-believe. This is real talk. Can you imagine having to suffer your life, your ability to move and to do things because you've been injured because of something like your mouth? Now that to me is powerful. Okay, so say you have a sexual addiction and you want to have sex with everything that moves, right? Male or female, right? Your sex drive is off the chain, and you must satisfy it at every. And then imagine that somebody that looks like a grown woman that is 15 years old, and they do look grown today. They look like full-grown women. Is receptive to you flirting with her in the store. And you make a move to have sex with this child, believing the way she carrying herself. And you ask her how old, 18? Oh, okay, you grown. And you go on and have sex with this child because you cannot control your sexual drive. And lo and behold, the child turned up pregnant. You either need to convince the child to have an abortion or force her to have an abortion, or be ready for whatever her family is going to do legally to you. And next thing you know, she's not aborting her child because they don't believe in that. She has the baby. Come to find out, she points you out as the father. And then they find out that this child was conceived with an underage girl, and you are about to go to prison. Do you understand me? So figure out what you aren't doing that is not lining up. Because if you don't deal with it now, I guarantee you it will deal with you later. I need for you to walk the walk and talk the talk. MightyStream is out. I love you guys. And I will be talking to you tomorrow. Enjoy June the 12th.